I'm ill right now, so please forgive how shitty I sound. Shittier than usual anyway. So Juror number 2 is Clint Eastwood's new and supposed final film he's directing. And it's a courtroom drama. Now, a really, really good, well done courtroom drama can hit a bit different. 12 Angry Men, A Few Good Men. And Juror number 2 is not quite up there with the classic courtroom dramas, but I still thought it was a pretty solid one. What intrigued me the most about this film is the story angle they came up with Nicholas Holt's character, a member of the jury, juror number 2, figuring out that he's the one responsible for the crime that the whole case is based around. And it's a big, massive moral dilemma because he's got a baby on the way, he's a recovering alcoholic, his life's finally getting back on track. So does he manipulate the jury in his favour and let an innocent person go to prison, or does he confess, give himself up, and leave his unborn child to be fatherless? It's a really interesting new angle for a courtroom drama, and that was both the film's strength and also kind of a weakness at the same time. I was interested in this story, I was engaged with the trial. I just think that the whole moral dilemma of Nicholas Holt's character was not really emphasised quite enough, at least in the first half of the film. The first half of the film is actually very 12 Angry Men. The trial starts, to hear all the information and all the facts, and then the jury go to deliberate, and then they start debating because everybody is saying guilty, but Nicholas Holt is the one going, hang about, this is somebody's life, we should talk about this, let's go through the facts and all the reasonable doubt and whatnot. And it follows pretty much the identical formula of 12 Angry Men, just not as good. But for that chunk of the film, Nicholas Holt's character's moral dilemma feels almost like a non-factor, because you could easily have that scenario with the jury debating and arguing each other about the case and whether or not the guy's guilty, without that moral dilemma, because I've seen 12 Angry Men. It's not until the second half where you find out a bit more about Nicholas Holt's character, some of the demons he's faced in the past, some of the tragedy that's happened in his past, and it's not completely ineffective. There's actually a scene where he confesses something to his wife, which got me a little bit. I was like, okay, that's some touching stuff. Long story short, what held Juror number 2 back from greatness for me was that I just didn't care as much about Nicholas Holt's character and his moral dilemma as much as I wanted to. I wasn't completely detached from the story. I was interested and I wanted to see what was going to happen to his character and whether or not he would turn himself in, whether or not he would manipulate the jury. I wanted to see where it went. It's just emotionally, I wasn't 100% invested. It didn't fall flat on its face emotionally. I just think that they didn't 100% stick the landing on it. I also think the film's a bit too long. It's about 2 hours 15, 2 hours 20 minutes, and towards the end, you start to feel it. I'll just say the case wraps up, and then there's still another 20, 25 minutes left to go. And it's not irrelevant stuff, it's just at that point you start feeling the runtime. Toni Collette was quite good as well. She's the main prosecutor in the trial. She's also running for district attorney. And I really liked what they did with her character, which I can't spoil because story spoilers. But the overall point this film makes about justice not being so cut and dry, that does actually kind of resonate a little bit. Sometimes it feels a bit on the nose with like the close-ups of the scales of justice, but it still makes its point fairly well. You see, this being Clint Eastwood's final ever film, I wanted to like it more than I did. I was expecting and hoping Best Picture contender with Juror number 2, but it's not going to be up there. It's not going to be my top 10 of the year. But I'm just going to celebrate the fact that Eastwood leaves his directorial career with at least a solid and well done film and not a whimper and a dud. It's worth seeing at a matinee showing. If you get like a daytime viewing of Juror number 2 in a cinema near you that's playing it, go give it a shot because it's Clint Eastwood's final film. You gotta go see it on the big screen.